welcome them in due course. As I noted at the front end, Mayor Ugolini is been delayed at the waste management meeting, which was just before this, and he will be joining us as soon as possible. The mayor has asked me to help facilitate the meeting in his absence. Very, very good to see everyone together, and I know that it's been a number of months. I hope that folks have had a good summer so far. Just looking to you, Joanne, as far as initial steps from the city's procedures, I'll call the meeting to order now, as we now move to the next item, which is around the adoption of the agenda. Given that the very first item on the list was an update from Mayor Ugolini, I wonder if we might actually look to move that item to later on in the meeting, and we can begin with item B, which is preparation of the fall agenda. Can I just get a check with folks if they're okay with that reordering of the agenda items? Anyone in opposition? Okay, so at this point, we're going to begin with agenda item B when we get to item 5 on the agenda, and then we'll return to item A, Thorold BIA Backyard Barbecue, when Terry joins. I'll look then for a mover to adopt the agenda as amended. I see a towel and Gary. Moving, anyone with any other discussion on that item?
Brad, it's Paul.
Hey, Paul.
Hi, I'm looking at an agenda file dated for the meeting Monday, August 22nd, and I'm not seeing something that's matches up with what you're talking about. So I don't know if there were 2 copies. I have the wrong one, or so mine just has a call to order, then adoption of minutes, and then the previous agenda. So
there was only one copy, Paul. I'm not sure what you were looking at. So the one I sent out this morning was the only copy that was ever sent out to the committee.
Well,
so what's happening is under 5A. If you look under 5A.
No, I'm looking at a document. It says Monday, August 22nd, 10 a.m. virtual meeting. Then it's got like an agenda, call to order, adoption of agenda, adoption of minutes.
Yep.
And then April 25th.
Yep.
And then I guess that's the agenda from April 25th. So
yeah.
anyway,
So
I'll just follow along.
Yes, but number 2, it's the adoption of today's agenda. And then number 3, we're going to be adopting the minutes of April 25th meeting.
Oh, so these ABCs are under committee business from
They're
April
under number 5. That's correct. You got it. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So just to clarify, the adjustment that I was making was to today's agenda, item 5, section A, Thorold BIA Backyard Barbecue, will move to the end of the meeting so that Terry can speak to that item when he joins. And with that amended agenda under consideration, I've asked for someone to report a motion to approve adoption of that agenda. And I had first from Italo and a second from Gary. No discussion around the change in the agenda beyond Paul's clarification. And so I'll look for anyone who is opposed to that amended agenda so I'm asking the question in reverse. Is anyone opposed to amending the agenda as described? Okay, seeing no opposition, we'll take that agenda as they go forward, and again we'll return to that Thorold BIA Backyard Barbecue discussion when Terry joins in the course of the meeting. Next, then I'd be looking for approval of the minutes from meeting April 25th, 2022. Anyone with amendments to provide to those minutes? Seeing none, I'll look for someone to put forward a motion to approve those the minutes from that meeting. I see Gary. In a second, I see Italo and Paul.
A second.
Any other discussion around those items? Okay, so I'll ask the question: is there anyone opposed to approving the minutes from the April 25th, 2022 meeting as circulated? Okay, seeing no opposition, we'll consider that motion also carried. Item 4 on the agenda is declarations of profusionary interest. Is there anyone who has conflicts that they want to describe or indicate at this time? Okay, hearing none. Just checking, Joanne, do I need any sort of motion around profusionary interest?
No.
Okay, so we'll continue with item 5 on the agenda. And as I said, we're going to begin with item B. Before I go there, just noting the names on the attendee list. And Joanna, just checking, do we have any new members this meeting?
I don't know if we have new members, but we have 2 that are replacing other members. And I'm not sure who Zachary is, so we probably have a new member for sure.
Okay.
We can do a roundtable if you'd like.
I would like to.
Hi there.
I would like to.
Sorry, I'll just jump in there. So I'm with Niagara Region Waste Management. Catherine just asked me to join in her absence because she's also a little bit busy with the steering committee right now. So I don't know if she'll be able to join later, but I'm from Waste Management as well with Catherine.
Hi, Zachary. Welcome, and thank you for joining us again in Catherine's absence. Any other attendees who are new to the meeting?
Hi, Brad. I can introduce myself. So my name is Hafsa Sheikh, and I'm the Associate Director of Student Rights and Responsibilities at Niagara College. I think it was announced at the last meeting that our Senior Director, Leanne Gagnon, has retired from the college. So I'm just joining the meeting on behalf of her today.
Welcome, and thank you for joining us. There is a point in the meeting where we do roundtables, and perhaps in the interest of flow, I'll ask other members of the committee to introduce themselves as we go through the roundtable portion of the meeting. But welcome to Zachary and Paul as well. Okay, so let's then move to item 5, B, which is preparation for fall semester. We'll be looking at different points to my colleagues at BUSU and also Niagara College to support, but I'll begin by describing the preparations at Brock. Of course, we are heading back to what I would describe as a more typical university in-person experience for this fall. We anticipate that fall 2022 will look much more similar to traditional fall, with many in-person classes and much more activity on campus. We are at this point in kind of the final preparations towards the start of term, and have seen great student uptake on both the academic and co-curricular sides thus far. At present, we are anticipating our incoming class will be quite healthy, one of the larger in our history, and that will certainly be something that is welcome as we look to, again, a more familiar type of university experience for our students. One of the things that is a primary focus in the fall is the transition of students who are new to Brock, and of course, in many cases, new to Niagara as well. And so our orientation planning is well underway, and in a number of cases already occurring. This year, one of the things that is forefront of our mind is that we really have a number of cohorts of students who will be experiencing university in different ways this fall. And so while we have the traditional group of new students, first entering their first year, who would be a focus for us as far as orientation and transition, we also recognize that for our second year students and even for many third year students, their time on campus this fall will be different than what they've experienced to this point. Again, just as a result of changes that were made operationally due to the pandemic. And so as we begin and continue our orientation planning, it's with all three cohorts in mind: traditional first year students, but also our second and third year students will be having new experiences as well. I mentioned that orientation is already underway, and that's because we have a set of summer orientation programs that are launched in July and August, and that are already in some cases nearing completion. Again, helping students to begin their Brock experience with the knowledge and connections that will help them as they engage in their academic learning and in our curricular programming. I will say that the last couple of weeks on campus and in the region have been especially energized because of the Canada Games, and that has been a great opportunity to welcome many to Niagara from afar, and very thankful to all of our community partners for everything that is being done to have had the games be the success that they have been. For our campus operations, it was also an opportunity to ramp up and to further prepare for the start of term. Many will know on this call that Brock Residences were the home, the athletes' village for those who are competing, and so for the better part of the last 2 weeks, we've been at full capacity and are just now going through some of the steps to transition from Canada Games mode to arrival of students in just a couple of short weeks. Speaking specifically to the orientation cycle, and I will look to our colleagues at BUSU to support this part of the update. We are very much focused on providing a set of in-person experiences for those student groups I described earlier that will help them to start off on the right foot at Brock and in Niagara. The Orientation Planning Committee is a campus-wide group that focuses on all sorts of activities and supports so that our students are well prepared for the start of term and for a successful year at Brock. The type of programming that we are promoting this year is again a balanced program that we hope has something for everyone: large scale and small scale events, high energy and more passive as well. Again, the idea is that students, as they come to experience this year on campus, will be looking for all sorts of different activities and supports, and that those are kind of putting a balanced schedule as part of the focus of the Orientation Planning Committee. I did mention BUSU, and I will say that our colleagues at BUSU have been hard at work for the last number of months in preparing their orientation schedule, which takes place as part of our overall University Welcome Week calendar. And I see that both Fatin and Kaylee are on the call, so I might pause here to ask if there's anything that they would like to highlight as far as the Badger Fest schedule.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Yes, Kaylee, we can.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. Fatin is on this call. She's let me know she's having some computer issues, but I'll do my best to give a little bit of a summary of what we're looking forward to for Badger Fest, which is what we're calling our week of activities. It's going to be starting on Sunday, September 4th, and then running all the way until Saturday, September 10th. And it's 1 to 2 events per day that is going to encourage all the students to come out. It's very much looking like what Badger Fest would look like pre-COVID. So a lot of the same activities that we have done in previous years, including things like late night paint parties, there's comedy shows, other acts that are coming onto campus. We're doing a community fair, which is something we do most years. So students will have an opportunity to meet a lot of different community partners that are going to be on campus. And then the final night will be on the Saturday will be the concert. So which should be announced soon, I believe. After orientation week, after Badger Fest, we are planning for a lot of programming throughout the semester. Like Brad said, a lot of variety in programming. So smaller events in our pub, trivia nights, karaoke, that kind of thing. So I know I can speak for Fatin when I say like we're really excited to have students back on campus. And yeah, we're just really looking forward to it and looking forward to kind of that pre-COVID normal orientation week.
Thanks, Kaylee. I'll go to my colleagues at the college next, but just prior to that, just to note that, as mentioned, the Badger Fest offerings are part of the broader University Welcome Week schedule. That is got a whole set of other campus contributors, from residents to Brock International, to our Graduate Student Association, Student Life and Success, again, our campus-wide approach. And we expect that there'll be lots and lots of activities, not just through the first part of September, but again, continuing through the first semester that will help students to transition to Brock and to Niagara. Later on in the agenda, I see that I can see items related to Welcome Wagon, and also the Brock Harris Day of Service. So I'll supplement on those two more community-focused components of our programming at that time. Habs, I wonder if there's anything that you'd like to share about start of term from the college perspective.
Yeah, for sure. I can definitely share a couple of updates, and very kind of similar to the information you shared, Brad, about Brock, where we were very excited to have to be able to hopefully return back to more pre-pandemic levels with our on-campus learning. And we did already see that with our spring and summer term, which was really successful. So really looking forward to bringing it back closer to the pre-pandemic levels and operations for the fall term, but still ensuring that our students have the benefit of flexible course delivery. As that is a lot of the feedback that we receive from our students with that sort of hybrid delivery and the flexibility that offers them. So that will depend on each program area. So what we've essentially done is that the delivery mode for each course will be listed on student schedules following their timetable selection. And in terms of our support services, again, definitely more of a return back to campus, but still ensuring that some services will be on campus and remote as well. So one of the things that we really learned even through the pandemic was that for some services, like even counseling services, that it was a lot more accessible to students virtually. So again, that will still be offered in person, but if there are students that want to access services like counseling virtually, that will be available to them. And then in terms of our policies relating to mandatory masks and vaccination, those were suspended as of July 4th. However, we are still encouraging our college community to mask, as we're monitoring key COVID indicators, which tend to fluctuate. So our campuses will be mask-friendly environments. And then in terms of orientation activities, again, similar to the information you shared, Brad, that our orientation teams have been not just very busy gearing up for the fall term, but even just carrying out a lot of pre-orientation session and programs like Kickstart in the month of July and August. And then we do have more traditional on-campus orientation activities compared to the last 2 years, where a lot of the orientation activities were virtual. So I can just provide a brief kind of list of some of the highlights for orientation. So we do have on Tuesday, September 6th, that's kind of our main program orientation day, where students will have an opportunity to meet their program coordinators and as well as their peers. And again, there will be an option for in-person as well as virtual. And then we do have our night's kickoff lawn party as well on that same day. And then really our orientation week continues throughout the week, where there's going to be a lot of student services fairs on campus and a lot of different activities that are being led by our orientation team, as well as NCSAC, our student union. So that's just a very brief update from the college.
Thank you for sharing that update. I see that Mayor Ugolini has now joined us. Mayor, with your agreement, I'll close off this particular item and then hand the floor over to you to chair.
That's great. I appreciate that, Brad. Go ahead.
Sounds good. So again, tremendous amount of focus right now on the summer transition programs and of course the start of term. Recognizing that for many students, transitioning back to in-person activities is somewhat new. Again, I think that there's lots of positives that will come from that. For this group's interests, I can say as well, as it relates to preparations for the fall semester, that we are also at Brock focused on aspects of neighborhood relations and ensuring that our students who are off campus are well aware of the expectations and the opportunities that are in front of them when it comes to becoming positive members of their new communities in Thorold and elsewhere. A number of different initiatives are in place to both build community amongst our off-campus students and their neighbors, as well as educate our students about the expectations that are placed on them as members of the local communities as well. And one of the ways in which we convey that expectation is and help to build that community is through the Welcome Wagon program that I'll talk about in the next agenda item. I also wanted to note that a group has been meeting through the summer to consider how to best ensure that the resources required to ensure that off-campus neighborhoods are positive places to be. That group has been meeting through the summer months, and that the various ways in which we've looked to ensure positive off-campus experiences will be continued for this September, including additional support from the university for neighborhood relations activities, and also for policing and bylaw enforcement. again, more detail on that as we move towards the fall. But for this committee's assurance that our strategies from past years will continue, and we anticipate that they will be successful. I might pause there to hear if there are any questions from folks on anything that's been shared from Brock, from Niagara College, or from Busu. I do note that we had regrets from the Student Administrative Council at Niagara College.
Go ahead, Idalo. I see that you have your hand up.
Good morning. A question to you, Brad. Do you have a total number of students for this year at Brock?
I do, in general terms, that's a number that's not confirmed until a little bit further into the fall. It has to do with course registrations, and the final head count isn't taken until November 1. But what I can say is that our total FTE is around 19,000, a little bit above, and that's moving us closer to the trajectory that we were on prior to the drop that we saw at the onset of the pandemic. So I would say that as far as a working number, that's pretty close for now, and we'll confirm as students arrive in just a few weeks and go from there.
Okay, thank you. Is there somewhere I'd be able to get a breakdown per se? How many beds are at Brock now, and how many students are actually off campus?
Yeah, I can give you some general figures now, and then we'll be happy to follow up with you after the meeting. We have 2,777 residence beds, and we anticipate a healthy occupancy rate coming into September. We will have some spaces available to support any quarantine that might be necessary and the like. But again, that number is our bed count. As far as the second part of your question, which is the number of students who live off campus, that's more of a nuanced number because it would also factor in students who are local to Niagara. And of course, would likely be living at home with their families. But again, our incoming class is around 4,000, and the majority of those 2,777 beds are incoming students. So that gives you some sense of kind of the distinction between on-campus and off-campus, with the qualifier that some of those students who be in first year and living off campus would be living at home with their families. And that general proportion would be similar for upper years as well.
Okay,
again,
great.
Happy to connect offline to talk in more specific detail.
Great, thank you, Brad.
Okay, Brad. So Brad, we are at, that was preparation for fall semester. Am I correct? Did we talk about the BIA backyard barbecue?
No, Terry, we deferred that for your arrival. So if you like, we could go to that item next, and happy to
I'll go back and then we'll move on to Welcome Wagon. Okay, two things then. The Thorold BIA received a grant from the, I believe, provincial government and so they are going to hold the downtown, they call it backyard barbecue, and they'll close a section of Front Street. Now this has to be approved by council, which I'm not anticipating any problem. And they'll close a piece of Front Street off. They'll have a free barbecue. They're also looking at having musical entertainment and some other different events along the street. And that'll run from noon to 7 p.m. on Saturday, September 17th. This, it will be similar, but an expanded event from the original event we had before COVID. And that was the first time that it was done. And this is a welcoming event for students and the community to come together and enjoy an afternoon of free barbecue, some festivities, and music. So looking forward to that. So that's the synopsis on that. Before we go to Welcome Wagon, I just want to reiterate on what Brad said, that our subcommittee with our community partners has been meeting continuously. Since the last Town and Gown meeting, we continued to meet, and we've been meeting through the summer in preparation to get ready for the fall. And it's been a great meetings with the Niagara Regional Police, Bylaw, Brock, and ourselves. And so just to let you know that we haven't sat on our hands since the last meeting. We've been continually moving forward and working with our community partners. So welcome week and start of term activities. Brad, I'll turn it over to you then.
Yeah, actually, Chair, we're going to go to C, I would think. We just closed off item B prior to your arrival.
Yeah, so welcome wagon, I guess, right?
So,
Is that
well, item D, my mistake, item D, welcome wagon.
yeah?
Thank you, Mayor, Mr. Mayor. For the last probably 15 years or so, maybe even a little bit longer, we've initiated an event at the start of term, which is aimed at welcoming new students to their off-campus neighborhoods, but also as a chance to make connections and introductions with longer-term residents as well, and that's the Welcome Wagon. Happy to announce that that event will be returning to an in-person, large-scale delivery format for 2022 after somewhat of a hiatus over the last 2 years, and that the date of the Welcome Wagon will be Saturday, September the 10th. An invitation will be going to a whole suite of community partners, including this committee, early this week, to extend an invitation for your participation alongside student volunteers as part of the Welcome Wagon. To give folks who might not be familiar a sense of that event, essentially it's an opportunity to go door to door in neighborhoods in both St. Catharines and Thorold, where there are higher densities of students, and speak to both students and longer term residents about the construct of being good neighbors, and to answer questions and provide information as appropriate. We generally see a very good complement of students and student leaders who come out to this event and are looking to pair those students with community partners to go door to door. The event is, as I mentioned, on September the 10th in the morning. And at this point, we're also working towards kind of a celebratory event at the conclusion of the Welcome Wagon that would feature a community barbecue and a chance to gather and share each other's company a little further. So as I said, an invitation is forthcoming, and would certainly love to see lots of folks from the Thorold Town and Gown Committee to join us for the 2022 Welcome Wagon. Very happy to answer any questions that folks may have at this point.
Thank you, Brad. Let's open the floor for any questions to Brad regarding the Welcome Wagon. It's always an important event, and a lot of literature also is distributed at that time in the bags that go out regarding being a good neighbor, waste management issues, and such. So go ahead, Paul.
Okay, I was going to save this to the roundtable discussion, but I hear what Brad's saying, and I think it's a great opportunity to collaborate. You see on my background, I have Harvest Fest showing. I'm a member of the Knights of Columbus, and we're holding this event on September 10th, Brad, which coincides with Welcome Wagon. So, and it kind of aligns up with what Mayor Ugolini said about the backyard barbecue, about the community coming together. That's the spirit of Harvest Fest. And we're bringing the community together. There's going to be a farmer's market, arts and crafts show, a kids safety village with the Thorold Fire Department. The Niagara Regional Police will be there with Project 529. So you can register your bike. All kinds of good things happening. There's a food court. So if you're volunteers, well, they're canvassing the neighborhoods, need a pit stop for a place to get some food and refreshments they can drop in. And then also I'm opening it up. I think it'd be a great opportunity if you'd like to have a booth at the event so you can interact with the visitors that come in and, engage with, residents. It'll be primarily, people from the community and, have that conversation that you probably have at the door, but you miss people. So just, offer that. And, if you're interested, we can have the conversation offline.
That's a great suggestion, Paul. Brad, can you talk offline with Paul regarding that? And as well, Paul, if you could get that information, a flyer or something to Brad, maybe we can incorporate it into the bags at the welcome wagon as well.
I'd be more than happy. And just a footnote, the city of Thorold is a partner in the event, so they're helping us in many ways, but one in particular is there will be a City of Thorold booth inside the hall, and Megan is kind of heading that up. But if Brock doesn't have a booth per se, that you could collaborate through that booth to channel your communications out. But definitely stop off for some food in the food court. Club Capri will be there serving their specialties, and the Feast of the Assumption will have pizza and other good things, so you can get some nutrition.
Sounds like a great day or a great weekend, because it's a 2-day event, right, Paul?
Yes, Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah.
Stay tuned.
Okay. Is there any further questions regarding the welcome wagon? Okay. Brock Cares Days of Service. Brad, you're up again. You're a busy guy here.
That's okay. It's the fall. That's what comes with it. There's a beautiful segue here between the Brock Cares Day of Service and what Paul was just sharing around Harvest Fest, and so I'll highlight it. For those around our circle today that might not be familiar, Brock Cares Day of Service is a set of volunteer experiences that the university organizes to help students to see and support needs in their local communities. And so, again, on Saturday, September the 10th, is Brock Cares Day of Service, and we would anticipate hundreds and hundreds of student volunteers to be taking part in volunteer experiences with local agencies across the Niagara region, including the city of Thorold. And so, Paul, if there are volunteers that you might need as far as facilitating Harvest Fest on the Saturday morning, that's a further connection where we might be able to support, and we can follow up on that after the meeting. I will say that the group on campus that organizes Brock Cares is in the kind of final stages of planning, but that we are still actively seeking volunteer sites for student volunteers. And so for folks around the committee who I'm sure have many connections to local agencies, please reach out to me after the meeting if you have any leads on medium and large scale volunteer opportunities for students that could be executed on the 10th of September. If there's a fit, we are more than happy to incorporate those into the day of service. Even if it isn't necessarily a fit for September the 10th, I'm happy to share that there are many other times in the year where we facilitate student volunteers taking part in the activities of local not-for-profit and volunteer agencies. And so, again, if there are connections or opportunities, certainly if there's interest, please reach out and I'll help make the connection to the group that plans the days of service. Again, September the 10th is the launch event and probably the largest one of the year, but there are many other ways to have students supporting these types of activities in Thorold and elsewhere over the course of the school year. Happy to answer any questions that folks may have on that.
Brad, I think that'll be another one to tie in with the BIA regarding the 17th, because I'm sure you'll have a booth there, or you'll be asked to, and maybe that's another great event to have some volunteers help with our BIA. So if you can keep that one on your calendar as well.
Yeah, because certainly the first time it happened, Mary Galini, there was lots of rock presence, and we were grateful to the city and to the BIA for organizing that opportunity for our students to connect with others.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to open it up for roundtable discussion, and I'm going to go across the screen as it shows on my gallery in no particular order, and I'll start with Paul Carfanini.
Oh, thank you, Mayor Ugolini. So just wanted to follow up on Brad's comments about the volunteer opportunity. I could not think of a better fit than Harvest Fest. As mentioned, there's going to be a food drive and bottle drive at the event. So it's a great way to keep the community clean, bring all those empty bottles in. I'm sure there'll be some piling up at around that time of the month. And the proceeds from the event go to Hospice Niagara, Wellspring Niagara, and the St. Vincent de Paul Food Bank. So definitely we could use some volunteer support and help those charity drives. I'll follow up with you, Brad.
Thank you, Paul. Janice.
Good morning. I do not have anything to report. Thank you.
Well, we appreciate you being here, and we always appreciate you being part of our committee.
Oh, thank you very much. Appreciate it. I like being part of the committee.
Brad, do you have anything further to add that you want to bring up now?
No, at this point, I think I'll share the floor with others. Happy to answer any questions as they come up.
Okay, and I'll go to Gary next.
Okay, thank you. I know it's strange, but I don't really have anything to add at this time, which is unusual. But
again, we appreciate your involvement. And one thing, though, and I'll say, if you have nothing now or something comes up, we always have the email chain going. So you can still always make sure your points are known. And if there's issues that we have to act on, we appreciate that input. So, Idolo, go ahead.
Thank you, Terry. Basically, I have one question, well, a couple of questions, actually. If I can refer a question to Hafsa, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, from Niagara College. Just if you can let me know how I get the same stats that I was asking Brad for with respect to Niagara College.
Yep, I can definitely look into that and follow up with you.
That'd be awesome.
That'd be great if you could provide that.
And one more question to Jason Simpson, if I can.
Yeah, Jason's here now. Go ahead, Jason. Ask your question.
Hi, Jason. Quick question with regards to the licensing. And I had a couple of questions. I had two of my clients calling with respect to licensing. Now, if they have a house and they rent it to a family member, one expressed a sister, okay, and she's not paying rent, are they required to get a license?
The answer is if they're not paying rent or providing any services in lieu of monetary gain, then no, they are not required to have a license because it's not considered renting.
Okay, perfect. It was basically same question with my other client. It was down the same road. So that helps. Thank you very much, Jason.
Thank you, Idolo. And you're done? Any further questions, Idolo, or you're good?
Oh, no, I'm good. Thank you.
Thank you. Andrew.
Nothing from me, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Again, thank you for your participation as well, Andrew. Councillor Sentence.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just one thing, I know Jason's on here. Brock, Hafsa, Brad, anybody out there, we are, I'm sure the mayor was going to touch on this, but we're hiring a parking only bylaw officers. So they're going to be out there. I'd like to let students know that beforehand rather than ticketing them. There is going to be somebody that is dedicated to that. I think I'm correct, Jason, right? We're hoping to for September. So
yeah, we've already hired somebody. They're starting September 17th.
So maybe a pre-warning to everybody, tenants and students and stuff that they'll be out there, and maybe we can avoid problems instead of having to ticket. That's all.
And what Councillor Sentence is referring to is this person will be dedicated to strictly parking infractions, which is also going to free up more time for our bylaw people to handle other issues regarding clean yards or whatever, you know. Okay. Thank you, Councillor Sentence. Penny, you're up. Penny, you're muted.
So I'm so sorry about that, Mr. Mayor. Good morning to town and gown, everybody. I am a member at large, although I do work at Brock in the library occasionally. As a neighbor, I know our focus is on getting everybody back to school and having a success this September. But as a neighbor, I do get students coming to my door for Halloween. I get some of the Brock students coming door to door. So again, if there's a campaign to be done, I know we're often doing community care and gathering food at our doors that week with MAC students. But if neighbors can reach out to students, we save our dollars from 7-Eleven and make sure we have those for the kids that come to the door. They're not really kids, they're young adults. But I think there's sometimes a food desert for some of these students, and they're coming out looking for candy and things. So just to be mindful, I think it's a nice kindness to be able to offer support to the kids that come to our doors on Halloween later in October. And that's it.
Thank you, Penny. And I do know, and correct me if I'm wrong, Brad, but last year as part of Halloween, there were Brock students going around collecting canned goods for community care. Am I correct on that?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. We have an initiative we run called Trick or Eat. Basically an opportunity for students to kind of dress up and go door to door collecting canned goods as part of the community care food drive. And we would
they did come to our door for that also, but again, just we did have other students, especially a lot of the international students. They just think coming door to door for trick or treat is so fascinating and really exciting.
Yeah, I would agree. The sentiment around international students and kind of taking part in this more kind of local celebration is a thing. Without discounting Penny's other comments around food insecurity and recognizing that we certainly, as you know, we see in the broader community as well, have students who struggle from time to time with food security and a variety of initiatives that look to support them through those challenges. But any support that we might be able to generate from the community, I'm sure would be not just well received, but gratefully received.
Thank you for bringing that up, Penny. Jason Simpson, do you have anything to add? Jason's our chief building official. He holds many hats, as well as overseeing our bylaw group. Go ahead, Jason.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. All I will add is that from a bylaw perspective, the Bylaw Enforcement Division continues to work and meet regularly with Niagara Regional Police and Brock University to try and come up with a strategy to address some of the common community issues. And we've had some really good discussions and have some plans for moving forward. Hopefully bringing some information to council in the short term.
Thank you. And Jason's been heavily involved with our meetings we've been having regarding our community partners. Who have I got next? Hafsa. Am I pronouncing that right? And if I didn't, please correct me.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, you did pronounce it correctly. No further updates from Niagara College at this point.
Thank you so much. And Kaylee.
Hi again. The only thing I'll add is I know that we have had a lot of students reach out to us looking to volunteer. So if there are any community events where you might need some additional volunteers and you think it would be a good fit for some Brock students, I can put my name in the or my email in the chat, and feel free to reach out and I can kind of connect you to the right people.
Well, that's good, because I'm sure we will find some definite opportunities that we can work on with that. And, you know, we have Harvest Fest, we have the BIA event, and there's a multitude of other things. One, Thorold runs a lot of events throughout the city, so we'll definitely be in communication, Kaylee.
That's great. Thank you.
Zachary.
Yeah, hi, Mr. Mayor. Thank you. I don't have anything new to add per se, but I know for pretty much all the events we mentioned, so the Welcome Wagon plus the Badger Fest, as well as the Thorold BIA meetings, the region is involved from a waste management perspective to make sure students and residents have the resources they need. So we have done a mail out to student houses and properties and property owners to let them know where to access these resources. We are participating in Brock's Welcome Wagon, as well as attending both theirs and Niagara College's orientation events, where students can obtain containers if they need. And we're also planning to assist with attending the BIA event in Thorold, so that those audiences can also get access to those as well. And we are going to have some on-road support in terms of bylaw and that throughout the school term when it comes to waste management.
And Zachary, that's great. I've had that discussion with Catherine many times, and I know that she sent me out some email. They're being very proactive and work closely with all our community partners on that important issues. So thank you so much.
No problem. And we are doing some social media in the next couple of weeks as well to try and hit that audience as well. And I'll be reaching out to Brock and Niagara College to let them know, and then they can share the messages on their platforms as well.
Excellent. And now I'm trying to read the print small. And again, if I pronounce it wrong, please correct me. Phaeton, am I saying it right? And if not, please correct me.
I'll just jump in because it's her name's Fatin Darbaj. She is our student union president for this year. Her microphone's just not working, but I'm not sure if Fatin has any updates. Maybe she could put it in the chat. But yeah, her name is Fatin Darbaj.
Okay, thank you so much, and thank you for correcting me. Janice, I see your hand up, so you must have had something come up.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just had a quick question about the new ticketing bylaw officer. Will he be working, or she, I'm not sure if it's a he or she, will they be working Monday to Friday, or is there weekend work as well?
Jason's here, and I'll let him answer that question, and thank you.
Thank you. So the schedule isn't 100% set yet, but the intentions and council's desire was to provide some enforcement on Saturdays. So the hope is, my intention is to have coverage on Saturdays as well as during the week, Monday to Friday.
Okay, thank you.
At this point in time, there's nothing on Sundays.
Okay, thank you.
There are times when we as a municipality, if it's a certain, we know it's a certain weekend that there might be more activities, we do, Jason contacts his group and tries to get somebody in on a Sunday on overtime, but we know it's an important weekend, so we utilize that as well, correct, Jason?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Okay, that's everybody. Everybody, the few things I have to add, first of all, I'm sorry I was late because I chaired a waste management steering committee at the region, and I was balancing that with this, and I'm thank Brad for filling in for me until I got back. And a few things that you see, I don't know if you've noticed, but if you go down Shimon Parkway, you'll see the two big cranes there. There's 6 new loft units going in that area. And when it's completed, it'll be completed in 2 phases, 3 at a time. That'll be 1,000 beds of additional student housing, which we hope will help with the growth at Brock, as well as take some pressure off residential neighborhoods. So it's a great project, but it's at the rate Brock's growing, I think we're going to need a lot more than that moving forward. So that's basically what I have. The meetings, this is the last meeting of this group. The subcommittee will continue to meet. So we're not like that nothing's going to be happening. Our community partners will continue to meet right through the fall. But our next meeting of the Town and Gown will be with the new council on early January 2023. So what happens is the election's on October 24th. The new council will get sworn in around the middle of November. And what you will see is an ad in the paper asking for you to apply for committees of council. And then you'll apply, the new committee will come to fruition, and it may be late December, early January. But what I can say with this group, and I hope you all reapply, because you've been great community partners, and this group has been, our Town and Gown committee is a role model for other Town and Gown committees across the province. And I think, Brad, you can expand on that, because Brad's heavily involved at the provincial level on Town and Gown. Do you want to comment on that, Brad? But you know how active this group is, and the great work they do.
Thank you, Mary Delaney. Yeah, I would just echo those comments. The Thorold Town and Gown Committee is a really good example for the way that these partnerships can work. And from my perspective, having been involved in this type of work for the better part of 20 years now, very, very thankful to the dedication and commitment of this group, and for the openness for partnership and kind of constructive approach to navigating some of these challenges. Again, I think it's a very good group, and I would echo the mayor in saying I hope many reapply in the next cycle.
Thank you. And again, adding on that, our subcommittee will be meeting weekly or bi-weekly through September, October, dealing with issues that come up and working hard with our community partners. And when I say our community partners, I mean Niagara College, Brock University, bylaw at the region, and the city of Thorold, as well as NRP, and collectively working to deal with issues as they arise, and pivot and change and do whatever we have to do to make the relationship with Niagara College, City of Thorold, and Brock University the best it can be moving forward. And we continue to work on it, because there's so many other initiatives that we want to do out in the community, and we're talking about volunteering for community events, partnerships and collaboration. Those are things that we want to bring to the forefront and really work together. So I want to thank everybody, and I want to thank, and like I mentioned, we will continue to work, and we hope you reapply. Your work is greatly appreciated, and I can't thank you enough. So that being said, no further business. This meeting is hereby adjourned. And again, once again, a big thank you on behalf of the City of Thorold.